Everybody, I'm Mike.
I'm Brian.
And this is Hoopin with Mike and Brian. And welcome back to another episode here today. Whoa, a lot has happened in the NBA world. A shocking trade has happened. Before I get into it, my guy Brian, how we doing, my man?
Doing great, man. Happy to be here. It actually all went down the day after we recorded last week's episode, so we missed it by a day, but that just means today's episode is going to be even more. And obviously, before I forget, we are out on all platforms, as we know. I'm sorry, having a brain fart for a second. At Hoopin, Mike and Brian on all streaming platforms, at hoopin.mb on Instagram and TikTok, at hoopin_MB on Twitter as well. And then along with that, as I said, out on all platforms, so be sure to show love. And I think last week's episode was aired on U92. This week's episode should be as well, so we appreciate it. And man, it's exciting.
Yeah, shout out U92, and thanks for giving us this platform. Yeah, for sure. We're going to be live, I believe it's every Friday around 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 to 11 a.m.
10 to 11 a.m. So if you're an early riser, like an early bird getting the worm, definitely tune in if you like to listen to hoops. So, but today's episode, first two segments, we're going to be talking pretty much just a trade with the Bucks, and then also Drew Holiday going to the Celtics. Lastly, third segment, we're going to get into just predictions going into the season. See how we feel about, particular teams who we see on the rise, and see who we see, probably ain't going to do nothing. So, wow, Bri.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard is going to the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew Holiday to the Celtics. We got DeAndre Ayton to the Blazers. What are we thinking, man? How'd you feel? How'd you feel first time hearing this? I mean, I was shocked for words. I think a lot of people could know how I feel, but
obviously, I'm sure you have a unique perspective as a Heat fan. I remember I was sitting enjoying my lunch, and I got a little alert on my phone on Twitter saying breaking news. It said Damian Lillard traded to, and then they cut off. And I'm thinking in my head, he's probably got traded to Miami. And I open up the tweet, and I see Milwaukee Bucks. And I kid you not, my jaw just drops. Like, I'm not even kidding. I was like, wow. And then you see the haul they get, my initial thoughts were just this. If this doesn't make Giannis want to stay with the Bucks, I don't know what will. And that just shows that they're committed to winning. And I know how Tanner Mounts, a fellow member of U92, felt about the Heat not getting him. I'm sure Mike feels a similar way. But my thoughts about it was, wow. Those were my thoughts. And obviously the Drew Holiday trade, which we'll get into later, same thing. I mean, just this whole thing, how it went down and how the Bucks kind of didn't have to give up as much as I thought they'd have to. No disrespect to Drew Holiday, but we'll get into our thoughts about it later. But Mike, what were your initial thoughts when you heard about it?
When at first, so the day was going by, I was driving. I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, I think I texted you. You were like, I don't even know what's going on.
I don't even know what's going on. Shout out to my cousin Joseph. Shout out to you, JoJo. He called me in the middle of driving. Hey, did you just... I'm so sorry what happened, blah, blah, blah. Like, saying sorry and everything. You're just like, you almost had him. Like, what the heck just happened? Like, crazy. And I'm just like, and I was like, and it's funny because before that I saw a picture, and I thought it was just an edited picture. I thought it was just, somebody bringing up some stuff. And I saw that edited picture of Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton, and Giannis and Brooke, and I was just like, well, that would be messed up if that happened. And then my cousin calls me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to the Bucks. I was lost for words at first, and I was like, dang, that stinks. Like, but I was like, I had like a real moment right there where I was just like, they probably traded who I think they traded just for that piece, and I was like, they probably traded what we probably don't have, but. Oof, I was a little shocked. I was a little hurt because, especially when but I shouldn't, because to be honest, when you look at it, when guys are like, I want to go specifically to this team, it never really works out.
Yeah.
Like guys were like, I want to specifically stay with this team.
You saw it with...
Then they leave.
Obviously not trying to throw it in your face, but you saw it when Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant wanted to go to the Heat as well. Like they said, I want to go to Miami, and then obviously they ended up both on the Suns. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, players of those caliber, they have say in where they want to go. I mean, rightfully so. Dame deserved to have a say. And me and Tanner Mounts were arguing about it, but at the end of the day, obviously, Dame's initial destination was the Heat, but I think the Bucks did him pretty right, getting him to a situation where he's really going to compete for a championship. And I don't know if there's any other. I don't know if it could be in a better position at this point in his career. To be honest with you, playing with Giannis, I mean, it can't get much better than that.
Yeah, no, it's a matchmaking in heaven for him.
I think
for
it's
Giannis,
perfect, yeah.
it's like even for Giannis, I mean, it's another snipe. This sniper is literally at the half court line.
That's how dangerous they are. And Giannis in the full court too. It's like
crazy. Like they just like I don't know who. And then your third option is just Chris Middleton.
And you still have Brook Lopez.
You still have Brook Lopez. Like even
Bobby
Damian
Portis off the bench too.
Bobby Portis off the bench, so like you don't even have to worry because you kind of have a slight depth. I mean, that's maybe one thing that did hurt them a little bit was the depth that they kind of got rid of.
Yeah,
but
that's gonna happen though in a trade like this.
Yeah, in a trade like this, because I had to go back because I remember I did say some things about like when we talked about a little bit about the trade we said like the Suns winning it, and I kind of said the Suns won it more, but when I looked back and I said, dang, no, this is really just a match made in heaven for the Bucks. Like dude, they made 60 wins off of, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton with a hurt Giannis and hurt guys during the season. Now you had Damian Lillard. Like, I don't know, 60 wins, I don't know. I think I'm going crazy, and I think they might reach 70.
Wow. Yeah, the only thing I'll say, the only worry I have about this team is probably their perimeter defense now that they lost Drew Holiday.
But what does that matter? But I mean, what Drew Holiday was great and I loved it, but even when it came to playoffs, his
Jimmy
numbers
gave him 50.
His numbers dropped, but like to be honest, do you have to worry about that with guys like Brook Lopez and Giannis behind you?
I was going to say it's not that I'd be worried, it's just like that's the only question mark I could have. But I mean, Dame is not as bad as a defender I think as people kind of say he is, but also I mean, Chris Middleton's still a very solid defender.
Chris Middleton is.
Giannis, I mean, if you have to put Giannis out on the perimeter,
the length on that team is crazy.
So, yeah, I think you put it well, Mike. That's not something – I don't know if worry is the right word. That's the only, I guess, question mark I have. But they're going to be just fine, man. If they stay healthy, too.
They are. Like I said, unless it shows in the depth that it hurts maybe long-term.
Yeah, but those guys are going to play, I think, close to 75 games.
That's the thing. And here's another thing that I think it's match made in heaven. Who's really great in the regular season? Giannis and the Bucks. They last 3-4 years. Who's great in the playoffs that we know is a great guard in the playoffs when he plays? Damian Lillard.
But also, it's like the pick and roll is scary, man.
Oh my!
Like Dame could just reject it, hit a three. Like they have to. If you're defending this team, you literally have to pick them up from half court. From full court. I mean, like, the options they can do is going to be and Dame's a very good passer as well. And Giannis being the rim runner he is, and with Brook Lopez as well, like, it really is a match made in heaven. I don't know if there's any
It's crazy because even if you think about it, it's like, let's say Giannis goes down, then Brook Lopez becomes an enforcer in the paint. He's like, okay, I'm the biggest guy now. I know what to do with my back to the rim. I know what to do. He becomes an enforcer, and then it's Damian Lillard and him working on that, and it's just it's a crazy duo. And then you have still Chris Middleton as your second guy with Damian Lillard. And that's like two shoes. That's like another. You could almost say it's another little rendition of Steph and Clay, like kind of like rendition of when it could be just him and Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's. The roles fit.
Yeah, and I think I don't know how the Bucks kept Marjon Beauchamp. I thought like that was. I think he has a lot of potential. He didn't really play a ton last year.
I didn't think they believed in that potential. I think they believed in because I know they didn't really. I mean, the Drew Holiday. I think they were looking more with. I think Portland really more tried to get this trade from the Suns.
Yeah, and then they also could flip Drew.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like I'm surprised like they didn't somehow get Marjon Beauchamp in that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, the Bucks also signed Malik Beasley too, who will be a great. If he starts at the 2 with Connaughton, or if Connaughton starts, like that's a pretty good bench piece.
I'm thinking Connaughton because he's a little bit more defensively.
Yeah, I think, and Malik can shoot off the bench.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't think the Bucks bench probably isn't amazing, but it's not awful. It's not as bad as the Suns was last year.
It looks like players that are right for the role that we think they're going to run. Like, it's going to be a lot of, 5 out. It's going to be a lot of Giannis controlling the ball and Dame controlling the ball, and it's going to be a lot of pick and roll, pick and pop with certain guys, and certain guys cut into the paint. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on this, but I honestly didn't. I don't think I didn't really love the trade for the Suns. I think Yusuf Nurkic, he's kind of on the back end of his career. He's coming off a couple injuries. He can't really defend very well, and I don't think DeAndre Ayton's as bad as people think he is. I think he's in a pretty good situation now in Portland. I mean, you do get Nasir Little and Grayson Allen, but I don't know if I love the depth wise. I get it, but at the center position, it's kind of like a hole now. I don't think Nurkic can be that. I don't think he's going to be that guy. Maybe he will be, but I don't know.
if he's healthy to where he feels like maybe in shape to himself, maybe I don't know, because I do understand, but the guy can still give you a double-double. Like, he still is averaging around a double-double, and I mean, yeah, he's older, the defensive lacks, but I mean, I think the rebounding's going to work for him.
I get that. It's just, I think the problem for me is I guess I don't think the perimeter defense for the Suns is all that well, and having DeAndre Ayton he's still a good rim protector. I don't know if Nurkic can do that. So that's why the Suns, I think, defensively are going to struggle. But, I mean, Nasir Little is a good two-way player who can come off the bench. And Grayson Allen can defend as well and shoot threes. So I get what they're saying. And, honestly, they probably had to get Ayton out of there. And Nurkic isn't an awful replacement.
You think it was like – I think the organization, I think everyone as a whole was done with him.
Yeah, and I think he was done with them, too. I think he was. And I don't know if you saw the video. He looks really happy in Portland. I'm honestly – I'm happy for him.
The dominance
yeah.
or something like that. Dominate.
The Blazers are going to be – they're going to be competitive. I mean, they got a pretty solid roster. They're not going to make the playoffs.
On paper, because we see the potential, but we don't know. I mean, you're going to – because you're still going to – here's what I got to say. I see it being a fit for the Trailblazers, getting another younger guy, bigger, like, you get your big man, young guy that's going to fit with your other young guy with Scoot and Ant Simons and all of them. But this was kind of the problem with him when he was doing it with the Suns. He was asking for a lot. He was wanting the ball more, wanting more touches when he was, having to deal with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, correct?
Yeah, and he's kind of soft too. He wants to spend time on the like the mid range. He doesn't really want
mid-range doesn't, and then defensively sometimes he's slacking. He doesn't really even playing hard. Falls asleep. And here's the thing: if he's gonna be asking more, who are the Trailblazers really trying to bring up? Who's really their guy that they're trying to be?
Are you saying like Simons?
No,
what do you
Scoot.
mean? Like, oh, yeah.
Scoot. It's gonna be Scoot, so he's still gonna have to be almost like a second guy in a way.
And I don't. Third guy, yeah.
And he might be a third guy with Ant. Like the way they played last year, Ant had the ball the whole time.
Shaden Sharp balled out at the end of the year last year.
That's another thing. So that's another guy he has to compete with. I mean, yes, maybe next year and the year after, obviously he's probably like the number one probably option with Ant because there's probably going to be a lot of pick and roll. But, I mean, it looks really, really good with the young potential. Like, definitely 2K team. I'm definitely picking this team on 2K and building this team around. Oh, of course, 100%. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I'm very hopeful on this team. This is definitely a team that I will say tune in for section, 3, segment 3, because predictions going forward. Because, I mean, potentially with the young potential they have, they could be a really good team. Yeah, because we've seen a lot of their guys. Because I mean, we're not even focusing a lot, but I mean, if the guy puts up the same numbers he put up, the guy that signed the max contract on that team.
Yeah.
If you put up the same numbers as last year, and then you have DeAndre Ayton do what he's doing, Ant Simons, and then Scoot maybe acting like he's rookie of the year, or being in the argument rookie of the year, that's going to be very scary team. Then in the West, probably top. I'd be at least playoff.
Oh yeah,
8 if they live up to that potential. But we'll have to see.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think it's going to be interesting how it plays out. But I mean, hats off to Portland for getting a decent return. I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Portland had a really good, like, looking forward type of trade.
Yeah. Like,
they did really good on this, and like they got what they wanted, and it's like that. Like, it's just hard to say because it's just, as a Heat fan, it's just like I saw what trade we were giving them that they rejected, that we were just like, because really the first thing the Trailblazers did ask, and everybody knew that right off the bat, was they asked for Bam. And it was just like, no.
Yeah, no.
It's not happening.
I was, obviously, if you're the Heat, I don't think I don't think it's as ridiculous for the Blazers to ask for Bam as people are saying though. Like obviously if you're the Heat, I don't think I wouldn't give up Bam, but I don't think it's unreasonable. That's the thing.
For them to I don't know why you look at our team and think we're gonna give up Bam.
I just don't. I think I saw like
because to be honest, I would argue Bam's our best player.
You don't think it's Jimmy?
I think Jimmy is, but Jimmy's older.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I don't think it's unreasonable as unreasonable as people were saying for them to ask for Bam. Like I get why the Heat obviously shut that down right away. I agree with them for doing that, but I mean he's a young upcoming big. Like I don't think. I mean obviously if you're the Heat, also like why would you trade for Dame if you're giving up Bam? Like I completely understand that.
I mean we were willing to give up one of our other. I mean I would have hated it, but we were willing to give up Jovic and Tyler Hero, and then a couple first picks, and then first round swap picks, and I was just like.
But the Heat also didn't want to give up Caleb Martin at one point as well.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, I could understand why, but I mean,
for Dame, I mean, my whole thing was if they added Caleb Martin,
were asking for
they did,
Caleb.
I think they did at one point. I know they did at one point, but the Heat like were hesitant to do it. But I mean
that would hurt our depth really because we wouldn't have a lot of people on our team because right now we're kind of depending on like our two-way contract guys like Orlando.
Yeah, no, I agree, and also like honestly, I don't think the Blazers it would have been smart for them to take Hero because they're young guards. I think Simons. I'm not saying they're as good as Tyler Hero, but with Simons, Scoot, and Shaedon Sharp, I don't know if Hero really would fit in that style of play just because they play very similar and like I don't like I see why the Blazers weren't like, oh, let's just get Tyler Hero. I understand where they were coming from with that. Obviously, talent-wise, Tyler Hero is very talented, and he's a sixth man of the year. But I do think that it's not ridiculous for them to ask for Bam, as people were saying. As ridiculous. I'm not saying it's not ridiculous. I'm saying it's not. I think people were kind of blowing it out of the water a little bit too much.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. I get it. I see it from more of the point that you're just like, okay, if we're looking at number one, number two options, maybe like two untouchables. Yeah. You think Jimmy and Bam.
Yeah, no. No, I'm not saying Bam is not an untouchable, but I just don't think it was as ridiculous as.
Because, like, when you think Bucks, first off the bat, untouchables, Giannis and Middleton.
I was going to say, yeah. I don't know if Middleton would be untouchable, to be honest with you.
What about Brook?
I don't think he'd be untouchable.
Okay. Drew? Was Drew
was untouchable?
I guess he wasn't. So I guess then yeah.
Well, you knew if you were the Bucks, if you were going to give up anybody.
So then Bam is more
like when I think of untouchable, I'm thinking like the absolute best players in the league, like Luka, Jokic.
That's fair. But you don't think untouchables can possibly be like those guys on the team that are like probably that young franchise guy.
They can be like Victor Wembanyama, untouchable.
Yes, right now.
Yeah,
right now. But I mean, you don't know like the next 4 or 5 years.
Well, like give me an example of a young guy you're thinking of, besides Bam, obviously.
Like in the 4 or 5 year span. Like I mean, we'll think of his draft class. What was his draft class?
Who? In Bam's?
Bam, wasn't that like Shea in them?
Yeah, Shea would be untouchable. Shea would definitely.
So Shea would be in there.
Shea is 100% untouchable.
Shea is an untouchable. I mean, Luka, I think was in that draft, so Luka would be an untouchable.
Trae Young, I don't know if Trae Young's untouchable. Just because he's been in trade talks.
I think that's just because the market that he's in is Atlanta.
I mean, you and me are very high on Trae Young. So
if
it was up to me, I wouldn't trade Trae Young, but I wouldn't say he's completely untouchable as Luka.
Dang, I forget he's in that draft class. Yeah, so he's as soon as that. Yeah, so I guess So he's a weird. I mean, but that's also because he hasn't gotten along with the. It's been weird with the Atlanta Hawks. So
yeah. So when I say untouchable, like it's just like the absolute best guys in the league, like Devin Booker untouchable, Donovan Mitchell untouchable,
That's fair. I mean,
Ant Edwards untouchable.
Yeah.
So it still could be the guys on the younger end.
No, get Ant Edwards out of there because he does not need to be a minute. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I agree though. I do. And as a Heat fan, I wouldn't want to give up Bam. So I understand both sides. Going back to that point before.
Yeah. So I mean. We'll get into that. I mean, just going into that pretty much is all some of it. So, but now we're gonna get into this break here, and in this segment, we're gonna go into pretty much the Celtics trade, getting Drew Holiday for the second segment. So, stay tuned in, bro.
Yeah, you're listening to Hoopin' with Mike and Brian right here on U92 The Moose.
What's poppin', everybody? I'm Mike,
I'm Brian.
and this is Hoopin' with Mike and Brian, and welcome back. We're in segment 2 of Hoopin' with Mike and Brian, and we are going to get into the Celtics trade for Drew Holiday. Yeah, Drew Holiday to the Celtics team, a nice fully. Man, the Celtics come out of the offseason looking pretty well, man. Pretty well.
Yeah, they saw the Bucks making moves, and they're like, all right, man, we got to make a move too. But, you get Drew Holiday. You give up Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, 2024 first-round pick from the Warriors, and the 2029 unprotected first-round pick. If you're the Celtics, I actually love the trade. I think that, obviously, Robert Williams' rim presence, you'll miss that, and Malcolm Brogdon off the bench, you'll miss that as well. But you had to make a move after the Bucks, getting Damian Lillard for that. So I think, obviously I said it before, his perimeter defense is outstanding. I think I kind of phrased this the other day. I think I was talking to my dad. Drew Holiday is a great player. I think he's so underrated that he's slightly overrated. Like, everyone says Drew Holiday's underrated. It's like, I don't know how much more this guy can be underrated if everyone's saying he's underrated. Nonetheless, he's a great player, great two-way player. I think at times his shot selection is a little iffy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially I saw it in the playoffs a little bit. But other than that, I think what he brings to the table, maybe he deserves to take a couple bad shots because he's guarding the best player, 48 minutes. But I love the trade for the Celtics. Now you got you got Brown, you got Holiday, you got Tatum, you got Porzingis, and who's even there? Al Horford's there for maybe.
Al Horford will probably be there for. I feel like the trade hurt him a little bit, but they do add. I feel like the guys that step in the role, like Kristaps and Drew Holiday, are probably going to like their roles a little bit better in these ones because Kristaps, every time he kind of gets signed, it's almost like he kind of has to be like the second guy, maybe the third guy. Now he's kind of being the third guy, maybe the fourth guy behind Drew.
Can he stay healthy, though, too?
But that's the thing. Can he stay healthy? Can Drew... I feel like the Drew wasn't... I feel like they got a better... like an upgraded version of Marcus Smart, to be honest.
I think that's fair.
Or a better version of Marcus, or like just better.
I kind of see where they're coming from. Drew Holiday at the end of the day was arguably the second best player of a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a lot that he can bring to the table. And I think defensively, it just elevates. Tatum took a very big step defensively last year. Jaylen Brown's still getting there a little bit. Yeah. And you do have that rim presence of Porzingis, but you lose Robert Williams, which I think might hurt them a little bit, especially if Porzingis doesn't stay healthy.
And they traded
Brogdon.
Yeah,
and I think giving up Marcus Smart's going to hurt them a little bit as well. But as you said, Drew Holiday is like a better version of Marcus Smart, respectfully. If you're the Celtics, I like the trade a lot. I think it makes sense in that aspect. Like, the Bucks reloaded. The East. Would you say it's a two-man show?
What
would you say it's like what other teams can compete with?
It looks like right now, because other than that, the only other teams you guys, the Cavs. The next other team would probably be your guys' team. Really,
you don't think the Sixers? Regular season wise, I'm sure they'll be up there. I don't know either.
That's just this team's intact. Unless they make a crazy move too, that maybe includes another team that we're not expecting, or a team that we're expecting, because, other than that, I don't see anything going forward.
Yeah.
Other than that, but yeah, this does look like really a two-team conference here in the East, man.
So I guess, would you say the Cavs are the third best team?
Cavs would be the third best team.
Yeah, I'd probably say Cavs, and probably the Knicks and Sixers below them a little bit.
Knicks, Sixers, and then
the Heat, maybe? Would you say Heat are at sixth? I think if the Bulls can the thing is they don't have Lonzo this year. I wouldn't say the Bulls now that I think of it.
Yeah, I'd have to put the Heat. Yeah.
Heat, and then and then there's some young teams that can make a jump. Like, as we said, that's
if you want to look at young teams this year, definitely
Pistons and Magic.
Eastern Conference. Conference. Watch the Eastern Conference games.
Pistons and Magic are two teams that we'll get into it later for the predictions, but there's teams that
interesting
can make the jump.
Even with this team, they stay healthy. just looking forward, like the roster. I mean, Al Horford's still playing, which is just interesting. But I mean, he's still gonna keep playing until he's done. But
Yeah. The East is really kind of just. I mean, the Raptors are going to be interesting as well. They have a solid starting five, I think. But I just don't see any other teams really competing with those two teams if they can stay healthy, of course.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just not many teams that are on that level, especially in the East. I mean, in the West, we could talk about the West. In that sense, obviously the Nuggets are coming back, losing Bruce Brown. The West is gonna be a dogfight for sure.
Oh yeah, the West is amongst the West is it's gonna be a crazy fight amongst the West. I mean, you're talking. Obviously you have your reigning champs, the Nuggets. You got the Lakers. You got the Suns. You got the Memphis. No, not the Memphis. Well, somewhat the Memphis Grizzlies. Not really. You wouldn't put them in the dogfight anymore.
Yeah, I think without Ja for 25 games, and they lost Ty. I think it's not more of also not having Tyus Jones. And Marcus Smart comes into that, to be fair, and they get Derrick Rose. I don't hate it. It's just at the end of the day, no matter how you feel about the guy John Morant, when he's out there on the court, he's probably a top 10 player in the league, top 10, top 15. And in terms if they ever want to win a championship, John Morant has to be on the floor. I know people say the Grizzlies play better without them. You need John Morant if you're the Grizzlies, and I just don't know with the West being as competitive as it is. Can they afford to be? If I said a couple episodes before, if the Grizzlies are hovering 500, a little bit over 500 when Ja comes back, they're in a good position. Because the last couple of years, they've been like the 2 seed in the West.
Yeah.
Like even when Ja's been out, they've still been up there. So it's like, I don't know. The West, I mean, it's tough, man. It's really tough because there's just so
even
many
with the
good
Warriors,
teams.
I mean, even
the
you got to think
Mavericks
of
too.
ahead, the Mavericks.
And the Clippers. I mean, if Kawhi and Paul George are healthy, the Clippers are one of the best teams in the league.
I mean, Paul George gave Bones Highland some praise.
Yes, he did.
Bones Highland's that guy.
What's it called? Yeah, he did. And then obviously you have young teams like the Kings. I mean, the Kings are up there as well. I said I'm high on the Lakers. Unfortunately, I'm high on the Lakers as well.
Interesting.
They got depth. Can LeBron stay healthy?
Even if they didn't believe in your boy?
Russ? I think it worked out, man. It worked out. He got to L.A., stayed in L.A. And then you know how I feel about the T-Wolves with
he moved to the basement.
Yeah, okay. They're moving. They're getting a new stadium next season.
Fair enough. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
And then you know how I feel about Anthony Edwards and the T-Wolves, but the West. And there's so many good teams in the West. Like,
yeah, the West.
There's really like 12.
They have
teams.
a lot of fun teams. A lot of teams that are in the West that are just a lot of fun. A lot of teams that are like they're very high offense, high octane. Like they're just gonna give you a lot every night, and it's.
Yeah, I'm still
amazing ball.
I'm still not sold on the Suns, man. Like I think they're going to be competitive, and I just think defensively, I think they're
maybe regular season they're going to look good. I think it's just maybe playoffs. They'll probably we'll see something.
They got some depth pieces over the offseason, but defensively, I don't know if this team is going to be able. Because in the playoffs, you have to be able to defend. I don't know if they'll be able to do it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean. But looking in the back in the trade with the Drew Holiday trade and the Celtics, how do you feel about Robert Williams and Malcolm Brogdon going over to Portland? Do you think that just kind of adds like a little bit just more depth?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, Robert Williams and DeAndre Ayton, I don't know how that's going to work because I'm sure it will work because DeAndre Ayton wants to spend time outside of the paint anyways. But if DeAndre Ayton wants to be dominant center as he calls himself, he's going to have to get his.
Be a little nasty little 5. I mean. Not even with Robert Williams, because Robert Williams came off the bench before, so I think he'd be fine coming off the bench for Portland. Coming in as maybe like a 6 guy that comes in as an energy guy and comes in getting rebounds and blocks. Because, I mean, look at this starting 5 that I'm thinking. I mean, you got Ant Simons, Scoot.
Shaden Sharp at the 3?
Maybe Shaden Sharp at the 3. Jeremy Grant at the 4. And Ayton at the 5. And then just have Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon. Oh my gosh.
Matisse
Thybulle come off the bench.
They still have Winslow.
Zach Collins with Justice Winslow. Like, that's a decent. They have a pretty
Kevin Knox,
like
guy. Yeah, and they paid Jeremy Grant a pretty big contract.
They did.
I mean, he had a good year though. To be fair,
he had a really really good year. And I mean, if he puts, I've said it before, he puts up numbers like that.
Yeah.
again with a team that has DeAndre Ayton added to the helm, and I mean you add depth with Brogdon, you add a little bit more veteran take on, the league and stuff like that. So you see it, you see it in the trades, and I think the Celtics feel happy that they got a guy like Drew coming in, a champion. So bring him in the house, bring him around Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
So
I think
I mean, Jason Tatum has definitely been on the other side with Jaylen Brown against Drew Holiday. So
yeah, I think that can like a guy like Jaylen Brown. I mean, my only question about Jaylen Brown is in the playoffs. I mean, to be fair, he was 2 years ago when they made the finals against the Warriors. He was the best player in that series for the Celtics. I mean, he outplayed Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
Obviously, Game 7, people want to talk about this year with the 7 turnovers and no left hand. I think, as I said before, I think it's more about Miami's game plan on Jaylen Brown. I mean, because he was able to do it all year up until then. Miami defended him well, but they've done that with Trae Young, with all the stars that they play against, DeMar DeRozan. So yeah, I think it's interesting, man. So I guess
what I'm gonna ask you a question though. Real quick. Sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
What player, after all these trades, what player do you feel like is gonna blow up out of all of these trades?
Like what you like?
What player do you feel like is just gonna have a year after this trade?
Like you're saying, players who are part of this trade.
Mm-hmm. Players that have been a part of this trade, either the Celtics with Drew Holiday, the Blazer, or Celtics, Drew going to the Celtics, Blazers just getting Ayton, Damian Lillard going to the Bucks. Who do you feel like is going to have, like, their numbers are just going to rise because of the opportunity that they have or the opportunity that they can have?
Honestly, I think the easy answer is probably DeAndre Ayton. Because I just think his mindset's gonna be better going into the season because he didn't want to be in Phoenix. I remember a couple years ago when he was a restricted free agent, he wanted to go to the Pacers, and then the Suns matched his contract. Sure. So I think he will. I don't know if Brogdon stays with the Blazers. Maybe they flip him for more pieces. I don't really know. But I mean, in terms of number wise,
I want to go to the Blazers because he saw Miles Turner shooting threes. So it's like I want to shoot threes.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know numbers wise. Dame's still gonna do Dame. Giannis is still gonna do Giannis. On the flip side, I think Chris Middleton, his role.
You think Dame though will average 30?
I don't think he's gonna have to. I think he'll put up 27, probably 27, 28.
You think both of them will average 27, 28?
Yeah,
Giannis.
roughly.
I think Giannis will because he gets rebounds.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot of.
Giannis might average
points.
10 assists this year. He might average a triple double.
Giannis, true, he could.
He might.
Potentially.
I don't know who's the ball who's going to have the ball the most in that situation. At least if you're the Bucks, you have 2 stars, but you know who's getting the ball when they need a bucket, like at the end of the game. Probably, Dame in terms of clutchness.
Yeah.
But Giannis nonetheless can get you a bucket whenever he wants to as well. So yeah, I'd say that.
Who's the coach again? Is Adrian Griffin
of the Blazers?
No, Bucks.
Oh yeah, Adrian Griffin.
Adrian Griffin. No, so let's see how good his coaching is.
Yeah,
game plan.
Well, who do you think's better though, the Celtics or the Bucks?
No, Bucks definitely.
Yeah, I'd say
Bucks.
Bucks.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, they both kind of lost their little bit of their depth or like where their kind of like key area was, like in a way.
Yeah, but just having Dame and Giannis alone.
Dame and Giannis, yeah. Puts them over.
I don't think it's
top.
really.
Because you pretty much do. He said it himself, but another guy also said it himself, who I think a lot of people say he is. But Dame said it himself, he's the best point guard in the league, and he's going to prove it, or that he is, and that he's said that he's been proven that he's the best point guard in the league. So
this is also the first year where Dame kind of has serious expectations in terms of winning.
Yeah, a lot more serious.
So it'll be interesting to see how like the expectations now, championship or bust, really.
True, because every time he was on the Trailblazers, it was always just like
make the playoffs.
Yeah,
maybe win a playoff series.
Yeah, it was always just like try to advance deeper than where we were last year, and it was always like, what? That's past the first round.
Exactly. Who was Dame's best teammate? CJ or LaMarcus Aldridge. In terms, I'm not saying
probably CJ, but LaMarcus Aldridge. Career wise.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Dame does in that situation. But I'd say I think it's the Bucks. Pretty. I mean, the Celtics aren't like that much worse, but I think it's undoubtedly the Bucks. I don't know if there's much of an argument there.
Yeah, I think the team that won the most out of all these trades were the Bucks because they just look such like an overpowered team now, where it's just like, wow.
But also now the questions about Giannis not staying have got to be out the window. I mean, if this doesn't show to Giannis that the Bucks are
the Bucks definitely did do this to keep that man.
Yeah, because you can't now. Giannis can't question the front office and say, "Are you guys committed to winning?" You can't do that now. Yeah. I mean, you got a top 10 player in the league. Now you have two of the top 10 players in the league when they play.
You have pretty much the best point guard
per se.
Yeah. And you have
best power forward,
and arguably the best player in the NBA.
Yeah. So. It doesn't get much better. And you still have Chris Middleton, as you said, Brook Lopez. Like they still have a bunch of guys who know their role. But I mean, Chris Middleton's not really a role player. But
you pretty much also have a top 10 center.
Yeah. Yeah. People think he's top 5, and I wouldn't hate it. I mean, he can stretch the floor. He can defend the rim. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting to see how that'll play out. But yeah, I mean, the East definitely a two-man show, Mike. I mean, I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Because as a Knicks fan, you have the year you have last year where it's like, wow, you're a couple wins away from a conference finals. And now it's like, we'll compete for the playoffs again. But I don't know, man. The NBA is a crazy league.
Crazy league. I mean, it's off seasons, man. That's what we always pray for. I mean, the NBA, we love our off seasons. We love our free agencies. We love our trade deadlines because it's always we see something.
Yeah,
it's always great. NBA has always been great media, great everything, storytelling and everything, narrating. That script, that NBA script. We love it. But I don't know. Are we gonna get Taylor Swift?
Are we what?
Are we gonna get a Taylor Swift in the NBA?
I won't be an NBA fan.
Yeah, me neither. Hopefully it's none of your like Nick buddies.
Yeah.
Oh, please tell them none of them get Ice Spice.
None of them get Ice Spice?
Nope.
Well, all I gotta say is the Eagles are 4-0, so.
Okay, that's a little messed up. We got trampled by the Bills.
Yeah,
the Bills just kept running through. Yeah, Josh Allen. Shout to the NFL. Shout to anybody that's a big football guy. So anybody that's a big football person.
We're diverse here. We got we talk other sports. Not really, but
no, really. We talk a little bit just because we got a little bit of time left. But I know we always. I mean, West Virginia.
Oh yeah, I mean we could talk about that for another minute. I mean,
just for a couple minutes going into third segment. 4-1. Who would have thought?
Not many people, man. But
no.
With the schedule they have, it's pretty favorable, man. Like the odds are looking pretty good against them, and they look like a pretty good football team.
Yeah, they look like a pretty good football team. Yeah.
Boy, you seem a little hesitant, Mike.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant. I don't know. I guess last game kind of proved that we're a little bit better because it's TCU. But I mean, TCU kind of lost to Colorado. Colorado doesn't look that great.
Yeah, Colorado kind of fell off a little bit, but I mean they have a tough schedule, so.
Yeah.
But the Mountaineers, man, it's crazy.
No, go us. Yeah, no, we're definitely go us. Go Mountaineers. Everything like keep going. Like if this is how we're gonna win out the season, if this is how we win this season and we have like a 500 record, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. If it's a nitty gritty game every time and it's just ugly running the game. Listen, if this is Cleveland Browns offense,
Yeah,
that's fine. Our defense looks top notch. I'll give it to that. That's one thing I'll shout out. I don't know who's our defense. I don't know who's our defensive coordinator.
I can fact check you that. I know that.
Come on, Brian, ain't you working with the football group?
Anyway,
got a couple
I'm a basketball
seconds.
guy, man. I'm a basketball guy. But yeah, I mean, Jordan Leslie. Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to Jordan Leslie. The defense looks top notch in the Big 12. So keep going for this. The view. So let's go Mountaineers.
Yeah, man. Obviously, let's go Mountaineers. But this has been Hoopin with Mike and Brian right here on U92 The Moose.
What's poppin', everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Brian.
And welcome back to segment 3. We are talking NBA predictions, what Mike and Brian are thinking going into the season, man. We're going to see what's going to be going on, man. I mean, there's a lot. We talked about even in segment 2 a little bit, trying to go into it. Kind of had to go a little bit off topic again just so we don't talk too much ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
So, but Brian, I mean, man, what do you got? Give me some good stuff, man. Throw me some good stuff.
Obviously, you guys know how I feel about Anthony Edwards. I'll save that for later. I probably sound like a broken record right now, but I got a couple for you, Mike. I don't know if I want to get your pain out of the way. I'm just gonna do it. My prediction is the Heat struggle this year. I think that they fall out of the top 6 in the East, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I know, Mike, I'm not. I don't just do that as a Knicks fan because I despise the Heat. But I genuinely just think for Heat fans, it has to be a frustrating offseason. I feel bad for you. We said it before. You missed out on guys like Beal, Dame, and Drew Holiday. But at the end of the day, this team did make the finals. But, I mean, nonetheless, they were still the 8th seed at the end of the day. And I'm not talking about playoff time. Playoff time, they'll probably be fine. I'm talking about regular season alone. I mean, Lowry and Butler aren't getting any younger. The Bucks and Celtics made a big jump. Younger teams that we've talked about made a big jump. And then they obviously lost Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. I mean, you got Josh Richardson, which is great. I think they'll compete for a playoff spot. But if things go south, Jimmy's 34. Like, I don't know how much longer he could be patient in terms of winning a ring. And I think it's got to be frustrating for Tyler Hero. I mean, the man's been in a trade talk every single offseason of his career. So I think the Heat are going to struggle, and I would not be shocked if they're – well, I'll say no, I think they'll be back in the play-in. I don't see them finishing top 6 in the East this year. Obviously, as a Heat fan, Mike, all bias aside, like, what are your thoughts on that? You can obviously disagree with me if you do. I mean, just tell me what your thoughts are.
No, I see us struggling this year. I don't think anything. I'm not going to be too high. I mean – it stinks. It makes me really look at Pat Riley and think like, come on, man, what are we doing? Like, the opportunity was there. But did we have enough? Why don't we have enough at this moment? Why? I am just gonna say we had opportunities earlier, like the trade deadline. Offseason last year, the offseason before, the trade deadline before, where we were in trade talks about getting certain guys, and it was just like, we didn't get them. Nothing happened. They didn't get there. They got to another team, and they probably left that team. And then what happens? We go to the finals. Like, it's so hard to be a fan because it's just like, damn, I love my team.
Yeah, and the thing was, you guys, the Heat were an 8th seed last year, and you lost pieces. A bunch of pieces that help you make that playoff run. So it's like, I think they're going to struggle. I wouldn't be shocked if they're back at the 8th seed next year. We
ride out, man. We ride out again. I mean, it's hard to say we ride out because I've been hearing this all out about people just making jokes about Heat fans right now. Like, just ride it out with Jimmy Butler and, Pat Riley's just paying attention to, putting more, grease in his hair, slicking it back. But, I mean, off the potential, I mean, the team doesn't look too crazy bad. I mean, still got Jimmy, got Bam. I mean, we got a good potential backup big in Orlando Robinson. I mean, we got Justin Champagnie from the Spurs.
Yeah, you got pieces. I just don't know.
We got potential pieces. They're not pieces. I mean, they're potential.
Yeah, Jovic too. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts about the Heat, Mike. But moving on, I'll say another one I have. Again, I've been vocal about it. I don't know about it even on Hoopin, but just in the radio in general. I don't think Victor Wembanyama is going to win Rookie of the Year.
Woo!
I think statistically he'll probably have the numbers to win it, but with the NBA implementing that policy in terms of how many games a player has to play to be eligible for an award, I don't see Victor Wembanyama playing enough games to get the award. Obviously the Spurs are going to struggle, but that's besides the point. And after the Dame situation, I think it's written on the wall that I think Scoot takes it home, and I love a bunch of the other rookies as well. I mean, Wembanyama is a great prospect as well. I'm not trying to hate.
You don't think Chet wins it?
I was going to say Chet. I think, but the thing is, Chet might not have to win it because he's on a very talented team.
True.
But Scoot, I like Scoot. I'm not really sold on Brandon Miller, but the Thompson twins are good. I think they show that they can be very good two-way players in the league. And then Keontae George is also a name that I've been high on. I saw him play when he played on. Yeah, he was on Baylor, dropped 30 points as a freshman. right here at the Coliseum. And Jarris Walker as well for the Pacers is a guy who I think can.
Yeah.
He's in a pretty good situation playing with Tyrese Halliburton. But I just think they're going to handle this situation that's similar to how the Pelicans handled Zion Williamson. And he's just not going to.
Which rookie do you think has like the perfect opportunity to like make a name for himself?
I'd say Scoot.
Scoot?
I'd say Scoot. Obviously, with just the Dame trade in general, I think that's like what most people will say. I think that Brandon Miller, I don't know. I thought Scoot was better than Brandon Miller. And then I think it's Asar Thompson. I could be wrong. Excuse me if I'm wrong.
Which
But
one, the Pistons or
the Pistons, yeah, I think it's Asar. I think he's in a good situation as well. I mean, the Pistons young core. I'm as high on the Pistons as most people are. I wouldn't be. They could make the playoffs. I think.
They could.
Like maybe like play in playoff.
Open that 7. Yeah, that going to 6, 7, 8. It's open. 6, 7, 8 is really open. I mean, not to be crazy, but I mean, really, realistically, 4 through.
Yeah.
4 through 8 are
4
really
through 8.
open.
And I mean, people are forgetting that. Like, I mean, obviously, Cade only played 12 games last year, but he averaged 20 and 6. Now he has Bojan Bogdanovic had averaged like 21, shooting 48% from the field last year. Like they got pieces, and then they also have Jalen Duren, who's going to great rim to rim presence, and I think the pick and roll with Cade Cunningham's going to be great. Not as sold on Jaden Ivey. I think he's a little bit raw, but I mean he has a ton of potential. He's aggressive. I think he's a little too out of control. Yeah, he's just a little too out of control. But I mean he's young.
I think he does great. I think Jaden Ivey is a great piece. I think he attacks the basket. I think they're a better complement than Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr.
Well, yeah, I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. is not even with the team anymore.
Yeah,
but I think Asar Thompson. I think he can be like a Drew Holiday in this league.
Yeah,
he's just got to develop that shot.
And
Isaiah Stewart averaged 11 and 8 off the bench last year.
He did.
So
Isaiah Stewart's a decent little. He's kind of like who I really like. Who I would feel like. If one of them would leave, I feel like if more of the French guy would leave, but your Timberwolves. Gobert leaving, but Naz Reid.
Naz Reid
is a really good.
He got
backup.
that contract.
Him and Isaiah Stewart kind of remind me of like the same player, but Naz Reid is more versatile.
Yeah, he is. He's athletic, very athletic, and I think that along with the Pistons, I mean they have Wiseman and Bagley who have potential.
Yeah.
I don't know what their role. They're probably battling for minutes, if anything. So the Pistons, I mean, Asar Thompson, I said it. I mean, I think he just needs to develop that jump shot, but he's probably like, 19, 20. He can score around the rim, and he's athletic, and he can defend. I mean, I don't know what there's not to love about the Thompson twins. So that's my thought about the Pistons. Obviously, Monty Williams as well. I mean, the year he went into coaching the Suns were 28th and 29th in offensive and defensive rating. And that season he came in, they were 15th. They were 12th in offensive rating and 16th in defensive rating. So they went from one of the worst teams in the league to in the middle of the pack, which is a big jump. And the Pistons have a young core with veterans. They still have Monte Morris, Alec Burks, and Joe Harris. Like, they have veterans on this team. Like, the Pistons, I wouldn't be shocked if they make the playoffs. If they stay healthy, I would not be surprised. And then, do you have any other thoughts on the Pistons?
No, I mean, you really hitting everything on the dime, man. I mean, the team looks really, really well. I mean, I've always been high on the Pistons. Even last year, I was really, really high on the Pistons. I told everybody, I said, hey, pay attention, man. Cade Cunningham, he's a really, really good player. Jaden Ivey. I mean, I know you and your volume shooters, man.
I've calmed down on that take a little bit.
Come on now. I'm telling you, they develop into something. That day, man, the more shots you take, the better. All right, man. You'd rather go 0 for 30.
I mean, the more shots you make, the better.
That too, but I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I guess that's true. But I'm just saying more. I just rather go 0 for 30 than 0 for 0. You didn't shoot the ball.
If you're 0 for 30,
would you rather have Duncan Robinson running out for a marathon, or would you rather have Deion Waiters shooting shots?
What type of shots? 3-point shots? If it's 3 points,
just shoot for a bucket. I'm just saying in general.
For a bucket, Deion Waiters. If you want to get a bucket, I mean, Deion Waiters was not.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general, like, and just in the game. I'm just saying, you'd rather have Duncan Robinson in the sense that he's just probably going to run out there for a marathon, and he's probably not going to get any shots up. I'll say this about my own guy. I can say this because it's my own guy, but I'm being realistic.
No, I feel.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, No, I get what you're saying. I mean,
That's why I feel so high on Jaden Ivey. That's why I think he'll work out because you know what? Even though Cade Cunningham is very versatile, but Cade Cunningham has a very good set shot to where he can just kind of catch and shoot. So I feel like he attacks the ball with Jaden Ivey, and he can just kind of set big body, and he got the length.
Yeah.
With Cade and everybody else, it's a lot of length.
Yeah, and he's young, so I'm not saying he's not going to be good. I'm just saying he has a lot to learn. But I mean, yeah, he's very talented. I mean, and if that's the backcourt of the future, they're in pretty good hands. Yeah. And then another young team I'm really high on, and we've talked about him, Mike, are Tanner Lambert's Orlando Magic. I mean, they're young cores.
Yes.
They could. I'll say it. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they make
very
the playoffs.
talented team. Very
I guess
talented.
another bold prediction I have for this team is I wouldn't be shocked if Paolo Banchero is an all-star this year.
6. They reached 6.
6 what?
Orlando Magic reached 6
in the
East.
I mean, the young core. I mean, Paulo averaged 27 and 3. You have Franz Wagner. You have Anthony Black, a 6'7" guard who plays the game at his own pace. Yeah,
Keep going. Keep saying the names. Keep saying
Jalen
names.
Suggs. I mean, he's been a guy who I haven't seen a lot of. But Jet Howard, the draft pick too. The guards are just battling for minutes.
Wendell Carter still plays at a really good clip, and
but Jonathan Isaac too when he's healthy.
Isaac, yes,
Fultz, Cole Anthony. I mean. And Chumo Kiki, we haven't seen him yet because he's been hurt, but
a really good defensive player.
Yeah, and you said it before, Wendell Carter Jr., the rim protector he is. Like the only question I have about this team is the guard depth and what the guard rotation is going to look like, just because they have a bunch of young guards on that team. So I wouldn't be shocked if they move on from one of the guys.
Jonathan Isaac for a guard. Trade Jonathan Isaac for a guard.
I think they have too many guards. I think they have to trade like Cole Anthony or Jalen Suggs.
Oh, true. Oh, yeah, trade a guard for a guard. Or, yeah, trade a guard probably for like another.
Maybe like another 3 because Isaac goes down. I mean, you have Franz. Or maybe a 4 then. Or maybe a better 5.
True.
I mean, they lost Bol to the Suns, but yeah. Again, what are your thoughts on the Magic, Mike?
No, I'm really high on the Magic. I've always been a homer with the Magic. The Magic will always be, a good home team for me, even though it's always going to be Miami. The Heat over everybody, Heat Nation over everybody, and but I mean the Magic, man, it's a scary team. Everybody's just very versatile. Everybody's very scary, talented on that team that could just have great potentials, and it's a lot of talent thrown around that could really complement each other. Because I mean, even when you think about it, you have Wendell Carter starting at the center, and you have Paolo at the 4, Franz at the 3, Gary Harris or Jalen Suggs at the 2. With Cole Anthony and why am I freezing on his name?
Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz. So, I mean, the team looks good. The team does look good, really. Like, they have the depth anyways if they don't trade anybody. Because they have Jonathan Isaac that can come off the bench. I think Franz Wagner's brother is also on the team. Mo Wagner.
Yeah. Who's
also on the team. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're, like, great players. But the team is there. Is it great player? Like, do they their star player is supposed to be Paolo, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's supposed to be Paolo, and then Franz is supposed to be like their second guy now. Because I mean, you see it now. Franz is like their second guy.
Yeah.
Like there's even moments he was the first guy. Like he was showing a lot better. And I would even say he's probably their guy. I would even say Franz has shown he's a lot better than Paolo in certain moments because
I'd say if you're getting a bucket, I mean, I say
Franz can shoot from the hash.
Yeah,
like crazy.
And then
Paolo kind of like
Paolo's like in and out a little bit.
In and out, but like he could catch. Like if he's open, he can shoot cash. But like Franz will catch you with a dribble.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. And I that's why I'm high on the Magic. And then not to just completely go away from that, but before we run out, we still have a couple more minutes. But a team I want to talk about on the West that I think is gonna make a playoff case this year that it didn't last year. Well, they made the play-in is Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they're gonna be this year's version of the Sacramento Kings. Shea arguably had an MVP caliber season last year. The Thunder just weren't competitive enough for him to really be in the MVP conversation. You have Chet coming back, who I'm high on as well. Josh Giddey plays like a brand of basketball that we don't see a lot. He's very fundamental. Just makes the right play, gets the ball where it needs to go. He's a great compliment to Shea. Jalen Williams, Lou Dort's one of the most underrated two-way players in the game. But yeah, Jalen Williams I had a great season last year. I believe he made all rookie first team. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Thunder, Mike?
No, the Thunder, hey man, another young team. Sam Presti, you know what you're doing, man. You know what you're doing. Keep doing. I mean, I hope they can get over that leap of just winning more games and not just being this kind of just building team because I don't want I want the Thunder because that's another thing. You know what was a good topic I heard somebody bring up? Thunder having a rebrand.
Oh, I did see. I saw that.
Yeah, I think it was on the.
You don't like the Thunder like jerseys and stuff?
No, I love no.
I like
I do.
some of them.
Some of them. The colorways is great, but like the colorway could look so much cooler if they got a rebrand.
But I don't hate their. I like their logo.
No, their logo needs to. No, it's we've had it for a long
Well,
time.
I think they could do something crazy with it. I mean,
It looks too early 2000 nostalgic. Like it's good, but it's just like everybody's gotten to a newer, and some people have gone to new but throwback in a like.
Yeah, you saw with the Jazz, they just released those throwback jerseys that they're wearing this year, and obviously the Raptors and the Grizzlies.
Charlotte Hornets, even more like people were like, "Oh, well, they don't need a rebrand. Look at the Charlotte Hornets." I'm like, the Charlotte Hornets now have the Prince stripes on them. They look nice now.
The Hornets branding is pretty well. Like their jerseys, I like their colors.
Mr. Beastables, they got Beast.
Oh,
Mr.
I saw
Beast.
that.
So.
And hey, LaMelo Ball, man, gonna have a big year.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, there you go. That's another young team, but really, my bad. We were talking about the Thunder. Thunder, like I said before. I mean, I have high hopes for Chet. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna go crazy and say rookie of the year. I mean, I could say crazy and go rookie of the year because he has the potential and he really has a skill and he looked really, really good in the summer league and the off season. Really, I mean, I've seen a couple pro runs and training. He looks really good. Just hope he can stay healthy is what I hope. So, you know, I would say shoot for rookie of the year because obviously you did have your injury and everything that held you back, unfortunately. So shoot for that. And, I mean, you do that and everybody kind of falls in line. I mean, Jalen Williams keeps doing Jalen Williams things. I mean,
they also they won a playing game last year too. Like
they
were just outside the playoffs. So what I'm saying is probably not as bold as you may think. I mean, they were right outside.
The talent's there. I wouldn't say the expectations are too high, as though.
Yeah, and
it's
also,
just like you're young.
You're gonna see a team like the Mavericks get back up in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Blazers are competitive, but yeah, I mean, they were the 9th seed. The Pelicans too. I mean, you know how what I've said about the Pelicans. But yeah, so that's something that I wouldn't be surprised. What else do I got here, Mike? Okay, yeah. I mean, I said I was going to save it for last, but I mean, we got like 2 or 3 minutes left. I mean, Anthony Edwards making first team all league is another thing. I've said it for a while. I'll stick by.
Dang, I thought you were going to talk about another team.
Who?
I mean, Anthony Edwards. To talk about that, Anthony Edwards, yes. But that kind of eliminates what you said before about Devin Booker. So what you're saying is. I want you to hear. I want everyone to hear here on first on Hoopin. What you're saying is Anthony Edwards becomes the best shooting guard in the league.
I'm glad you said that. That's not what I'm saying exactly. I'm saying statistically, like I think he'll have the best shooting guard season because I mean he's undoubtedly the number 1 guy in Minnesota. Where Booker is gonna have times where he's the number 3 guy.
Do you think he's the best shooting guard in the league?
Anthony Edwards?
Yes.
No, it's Devin Booker.
I
I think it's Booker, Mitchell, and then Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
Maybe if people get mad at me for not saying Jaylen Brown, that's fair. But I put Edwards at 3. But I think at the end of the year he might surpass Mitchell. He might. I'm not saying he will. He might. But if he gets first team all league, it'll be hard for me not to put him over. But I think Booker's the best shooting guard in the league, hands down.
Anthony Edwards will, as a great argument to get second all team. First all team is a little bit of a stretch. A little bit.
No, that's fair. I would
say because of the situation that he's in. But I will argue if this year doesn't work out as best and somehow he still has a good year, I'll say the next year he fights for being the best shooting guard in the league. But I will tell you this, he does have to fight again. How dare you not put him number 2? And you said Jaylen Brown. Donovan Mitchell, and then Jaylen Brown, and then it goes Anthony Edwards.
That's fair. But look, we're running out of time, but I'll make it quick. I mean, people did say that Gobert would hurt Anthony Edwards' production, which is fair because he clocks his paint. But at the end of the day, Anthony Edwards had an increase in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, field goal percentage, and 3-point field goal percentage, and steals last season. So we'll see if that goes up. But again, that's probably my boldest take, and I've said it before, so I'm going to stick by it. And just don't be surprised. That's all I'm saying. But before we head out, make sure to follow our socials at Hoopin with Mike and Brian, out on all platforms on YouTube as well. We're at Hoopin. We're at Hoopin.mb on Instagram and TikTok, and we're also at Hoopin_MB on Twitter as well. This is another episode of Hoopin with Mike and Brian. This has been Hoopin with Mike and Brian right here on U92 The Moose.
Stay tuned. Stay listening. Stay hooping.